Hello, hello. It is the Friday Q&A. Welcome everyone. I think we have a handful of folks on, and thanks for joining up early. We had a little discussion. So, if you're new to the live streams, welcome. Let me know if you are new. Say hello. We should probably have a few moderators hopping on, the usual suspects. Please let me know if you could hear me okay. I'm changing my setup just slightly here, but hopefully this works well. So I got a few things going on today, and I know some people pop on quick and some people stay on for a long time. I'm going to make these announcements. I have like four slightly interesting things, or at least things that I'm going to tell you, and I'll probably revisit it over and over. But for the people that are catching the replay, thanks for watching the replay. Leave a comment. Just say, hey, I watched the replay. I do like the replays, but I just can't make it live. So let me know that. It's always good just to have that sort of reinforcement so I know the people are watching later. And we have Bree on, we have Marty, Mark, Sharif, what's up? We also have, I think there was another person in here, but if I missed you, I'm sorry. And Alwayne, of course, Dennis, PG, what's up? Tima, Anthony, Subham, Camille, and a couple of the announcements. So I'm going to say them multiple times, but for the people that just tune in for the first part, there was a content workshop yesterday. A lot of people attended. It was very good. If you're wondering how to outline your content for your niche site or really any kind of site, or if you're just trying to get organized to like brainstorm and outline things, I do a live demo. You can see me sort of struggle through the process. There's a link in the description. There's links in the description for all this stuff that I'm mentioning. The other thing I want to talk about is a theme called REHUB. And a lot of people have recommended REHUB in the chat and just through my interactions. I'm not a WordPress theme enthusiast. I put my head in the sand, basically. Unless there's a problem, I really don't pay much attention. However, a lot of people ask me all the time. And through a little bit of research, talking with some of the good people in the chat and just networking and stuff, I started hearing more and more about REHUB, and I got a look at it. And after I did some investigating, I see that Amazon Associates actually recommends REHUB along with one other theme, which I haven't checked out yet or heard anything about, so I didn't mention it. But I didn't pull up the screen, but if you look on the Amazon Associates guides, you will see that REHUB is mentioned as one of the themes that they say, hey, this one works pretty good. So I have an affiliate link in the description. If you want to check it out, you can check out the demo. And there are a few affiliate links that are very clearly marked. I get a commission if you buy through them. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. The other thing is, if you're interested in Pinterest traffic, I have a free training that one of my friends put out, John Dykstra. He blogs over at My Perfect Blog. It used to be Fat Stacks Blog, I think, but he rebranded. And I get questions about Pinterest all the time, which I basically don't know anything about. I'm not into it, right? However, a lot of people want to get traffic from Pinterest to their niche site, maybe to help get out of the sandbox earlier, right? I don't know if that works for sure, but you can indeed get traffic. John is really good at, other areas of like SEO on Pinterest and getting traffic, and he's doing really well. There's a link for a free on-demand training. Basically, it's a webinar. It's a recorded webinar, right? So I'm going to be upfront with you about all these details. It's a recorded webinar, so it's not live. If you try and ask questions, like no one's on the other side reading it. However, if you are interested in Pinterest traffic, you can take a look. Eventually at the webinar, right, they're going to pitch their course. However, if you just want to get the free value that they offer in the webinar, I encourage you to take a look. You can, sign up and watch it within 15 minutes or whatever. And you'll probably get an email for the replay and stuff like that. You could also watch it, schedule it for the next day. It's one of those automated deals. Again, I'm just being upfront about all these caveats, and I've had a couple reactions, right? So some people said that, they didn't learn much because they already kind of knew about Pinterest. And then I had a couple people email me and say, thank you for telling me about this. I learned a lot in that webinar. All right. So some people like it, some people don't. All right. So you can take a look if you're interested in Pinterest traffic, just have a look. There's no harm in, signing up for a free webinar. And then there's two books that I'm going to mention, but I'll hold it because I see the chat is just exploding over there. So I'm going to hop back over. And yeah, if you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, I would really appreciate that. I believe it helps people find this video and, it gets recommended and all that good stuff. All right. Marcus says, you just returned to your hotel after a solid drinking sessions. My wife is passed out, but I'm ready for some good affiliate marketing teaching. Well, the thing is, if you want to, if you want to learn how to do affiliate marketing drunk, you do have to learn it while you're drunk. So, glad to have you on. Sean's on, of course. Search engine marketing. Toki's on. Toki, I sent you an email. Looking forward to speaking with you on the coaching session. Balt is on. And Marty is reminding everyone, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Really appreciate it. Kevin says, you missed the live session yesterday. It was a wrong time zone. Sorry about that. I probably, I don't know. I think there may have been a time zone issue on the sign up page or something like that. All right, Victor, how's it going? Tima says, you like REHUB, it's just hard to learn everything. Okay, and Marty mentions that REHUB may be a little bit difficult for beginners. So, and Marty has talked to the creator many times. So that's good that they're involved in it and talking to customers. So, all right. And let's see. Agers, what's up? Another student, Mar-Yan, thanks for hitting the like button. And Marty's mentioning the 5-figure niche site course is a good one. So thanks, thanks for saying that. All right. And I think there was a question. Okay, our med said, how long should we wait after launching a site with 10 pieces of content before applying for the Amazon affiliate program? Good question. It's 100% up to you. I would wait until you're getting some traffic, or until you're ready to start working on the site. So once you apply, you're basically accepted right away, and then you have 180 days to make 3 sales. All right. So if you are going to be actively doing stuff for the next 6 months, trying to get traffic on your site, you can go ahead and apply. If you do even just a part-time job and you're putting in 1 hour a week, within 6 months, you should be able to get some traffic on your site and make some sales. If you are more cautious, right? If you're not sure when you're going to be able to work on the site, maybe you should wait until you're going to have 6 months of effort on the site. Again, you don't have to put in that much effort to get a little bit of information, or sorry, a little bit of traffic, as long as you're putting some information on your site. All right, so hopefully that helps. There's no right way to do it. Okay, and then ASIM says, tell me about negative SEO. Basically, someone is putting bad links towards a site, a competitor site, and then eventually the site either gets penalized or just drops in the rankings through over optimization, that sort of thing. So that is negative SEO. It does actually work if the person doing it knows what they're doing, and you can in fact disavow the links and stuff, but you have to stay on top of it. So, and by the way, there's a new, I teased this the other day. I thought Dave Fox was going to join me today, but he had a scheduling conflict and he said he couldn't do it. So he's doing some family stuff today, and then hopefully he'll be able to join next week. But the reason why I mentioned that is Dave was impacted by negative SEO, and then I interviewed him. I got an update from him. We talk about negative SEO, and we talk about some really awesome white hat outreach that's coming out in a couple weeks. We did the interviews earlier this week and just sort of caught up and stuff. So in a couple weeks, we'll have 3 videos coming out from Dave, 2 of which are sort of actionable ideas, actionable topics. All right. Marianne says, Quora doesn't allow external links anymore. Please, someone confirm or refute. This is bad news if it's true. Yeah, I saw the email from you, and then I tried to look. I typically don't use Quora, but I would say that, I mean, this always happens, right? So whatever the trend is, when I first started, people were saying, go to, I think it was like delicious.com or one of those bookmarking kind of sites. There were always these kind of like little sites where you place links, and then eventually it gets abused so much that they disallow it or whatever, right? Even looking at like blog post on, say, Huffington Post, right? They used to be do follow links, and then they're publishing so much content. They had so many contributors. People were selling links on Huffington Post that basically, they changed it to no follow. I think that's the right site, but there several sites did that sort of thing. So, Marianne, I'm not sure. Not sure. All right. Who is Joe? Says, what's up? And then aloha from JS. How's it going? And if I miss anyone on the chat, it's not intentional. So, all right. Oh yeah, Marty. Indeed, yeah, Amazon. And you know what? One thing I may do is just put together a series of videos where I just like go through the documentation from Amazon Associates, because they have a lot, but I mean, I never read it. So I assume a lot of people don't read it either. All right. And Joe says you were going to wait about a year before putting in affiliate links. That is, totally up to you. So however you want to do it is fine. Asim says, so Dave was a mystery man. You were waiting for him. Yeah. So hopefully, like I said, Dave will be able to join up next week. Camille says, buying paid guest posts from Facebook group is good or not? It is not good. So basically anything where you are taking a shortcut, or it's easy, or it's cheap, or anything like that, it is basically not going to work. Or if it does, it'll be high risk and a short-term gain. Igor says, you were impacted with negative SEO for your website. It was 10 months old and traffic dropped by 50%, 10,000 to 5,000. Yep, it is for real. And Ceda says, regarding negative SEO, there are so many spammy links pointing to my site. Is it worth disavowing those links, or should you focus your energy on creating high quality backlinks instead? I would say that you should probably say like once a quarter or something, disavow the links, because what happens is most of the time, you don't have to worry about it. And then you hit some threshold, and then your site gets a penalty, and then it does matter, and then it's like number one priority to deal with. So I would say like do it quarterly, something like that. But I mean, these sort of links happen, over time, just because people are jerks. Duke says, you just looked on Quora and the link functionality is still there. Okay, cool. Good to know. And there were a couple questions sent in, so I'm going to hop over and have a look at those. I see we got a bunch of new people that joined up, so welcome. If you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, I really appreciate it. And then the question is, this one's from Will. In researching some competitors, you noticed that some have affiliate links on every post. Some of the posts are affiliate oriented and some are more informational, but they all have at least one affiliate link. Is it reasonable to do and not look too spammy to Google? Currently, I'm linking to affiliate articles from your affiliate or from your informational post and have no affiliate links on them. That's from Will. All right, Will. I don't know the answer for sure. Only Google would know this answer, right? There's another question very related to this where, you're asking my opinion. So I will answer it for sure, but no one knows except for Google, right? And no one's like, to my knowledge, is like actively trying to test this because it doesn't matter that much. All right. So my thought is, yeah, put an affiliate link in your informational article. If you know why the person is searching for whatever it is, then you have a pretty good hunch on like the products that they may be interested in. So if you can help the visitor, then go for it. Put an affiliate link in there. It's probably fine. The related question is from Ceda. Ceda, what's up? This is most of the content on my site or informational post, and you want to bring it to 50-50 where you have half affiliate content. And that means you'll be publishing about 20 money posts back to back over the next few weeks or months. Is that advisable? Or does it even matter since you'll have 50-50 at the end? I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters because, yeah, at the end of the day, you'll have, a reasonable, acceptable ratio. So I wouldn't worry about it. And when I got these two questions in, sort of back to back, it made me realize like how many like nuanced like little things like along the way you run into because you hear all this stuff. I mean, quick example, like Marion, right? Marion was freaking out because Quora doesn't allow external links anymore. There's just so much chatter. Like one person, Marion, just because it's a good example, right? So you probably heard it somewhere, and then a bunch of people are hearing about it here. And then if Duke wasn't able to confirm it quickly, then all of a sudden, like this is how rumors start, and it's like, oh no, now Quora doesn't allow links. I got a cough here. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. I put some cinnamon in my coffee and I must have like inhaled it or something like that. All right, maybe I'll just get closer here and talk quieter. So basically, it's very easy to go into analysis paralysis where there are so many inputs. It's just overwhelming. You're hearing all this information. You don't know if it's true or not. And in fact, I don't even know if it's true. And it's one of the reasons I stay out of like Facebook groups and the like, because a lot of people don't know what they're talking about at all. So, all right. So those two questions were in there. John mentions, and this John is asking everyone in the chat this a question to everyone in the chat and Doug. What's my opinion on a pen name versus your real name on your affiliate site? All right. So feel free to. All right. Search engine online marketing. Let's up the game for your messages. That is your single warning. All right. Next. So if you're watching the replay, then let me know and let John know about your opinion on using a pen name versus your real name on the affiliate site. So me personally, right, if you have an internet marketing blog, most likely I advise you to don't put your name on your affiliate sites because someone will try and find them and then put negative SEO links at your site, right? That's bad. Otherwise, my personal opinion is to look at your professional career and like, is there going to be any sort of conflict of interest by having a public site out there? Now, most of the time, not. And it depends, right? Blogs are way more common. Becoming, an online influencer is way more common now. So if you have an interest in that, it's probably going to be okay, and no one at your company is really going to have an issue with it because podcasts are common. It wouldn't be weird if you had a podcast and you had affiliate stuff on there. That's totally acceptable these days for most companies. But I think you have to look at the culture in your company and figure out like what's acceptable there. All right. And let's see. Hold on one second, folks. What are we doing here? Okay, cool. I'm back. All right. So I'm going to hop back over to the chat really quick here because I missed some stuff. Okay, Anthony says, what do you use to make a sitemap to submit to Google Console for the XML and a regular HTML version? So basically for the sitemap, I usually will have, probably some kind of SEO plugin, like Yoast SEO plugin. I don't use it for the SEO portion, but it has some useful tools on there, like editing your htaccess file from the tools section or the sitemap. So I usually will just submit that sitemap URL from there. Next, Marcus says you actually try to use Quora a lot. You used it for an hour for 30 days in a row to answer questions. You got some traffic, but it really wasn't that great. So you're not sure if you got anything in terms of ranking. Okay, and I think, I mean, it's probably decent if it continues to bring in like a few visitors a day. I imagine even if it's a no follow link, I imagine it's probably a useful link to have. Riza says, in my experience, what's the good link? What's a good length for the intro of a post? I would say like 100 to 300 words or so. Anthony says, how do I feel about offline marketing for one site, like print ads and word of mouth? I would say it's probably a huge waste of time. I mean, there's so much that you could do online that's like way more leveraged versus either of those. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, but I think there's better ways to do it. And Anthony, I would say if your traffic's low and you're trying to like patch up an issue somewhere else by doing like offline stuff, then maybe you should fix the part that's broken. I'm not sure like why you're asking that. Although if you're like a print ad person and a networking master, then maybe yeah, that's a great thing to do. Who is Joe says, my opinion on creating backlinks is that I don't believe we should create them, but allow it to be done naturally because Google is bound to find out. Okay. I respect your opinion, Joe. Daniel, what's up? You published a bunch of info articles first and then many buyer articles to get a good ratio, but the results were really good. Cool. And I've heard that as well. I mean, you can get good traction, get some Google love early on, and then, follow up later with more affiliate content. So Ceda, I think you're good to go. Kevin says you had more than one category for your post and you changed them to one category. Will this affect Google or should I resubmit a sitemap? Google should probably be able to figure it out. I would advise you to no index your category archive pages and your tag archive pages and your date archive pages and all that kind of mess so you don't have duplicate content. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. Google it. You should be able to find that. Another useful thing you can do with the Yoast SEO tool and probably a lot of the comparable SEO plugins. ASIM says, should I submit all my bookmarking directory submitted links for indexing by the Search Console? So I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can fetch other sites that are not yours. I wouldn't worry about it. All right. Anthony says, how does Google interpret products embedded in blog posts if you use a site stripe? Does it see it as an affiliate link? I don't know how Google interprets things, but yes, it's an affiliate link for sure. ASIM says, is my course free? Will you get a certificate? No, my course is not free, and no, you won't get a certificate. You can watch all the YouTube content that you want, though. There's hundreds of hours of it. It's obscene. So yeah, you can totally check it out for free on YouTube, and the blog stuff is free too. And Kevin says you would use a pen name for the main reason should anyone get angry with you personally, but even so, even if there is no reason. Okay. Ceda. Okay. Ceda says, thanks. There's a lot of misinformation on the internet. So true. Marty says, you've heard the authority hacker guys both for and against using an alias. I think they essentially felt it depends. If there's a benefit, it's good, they say. Timus says, do you think a niche site for lead generation instead of affiliate, like directing phone calls to a business, is a good way of making money? Tima, it's a great way of making money. It's a completely different business model, but I mean, it's a lead generation situation, and you could totally do it. And there's people in that space comparable to what I'm doing, where they're telling you, here's how you set up the sites. You can focus on plumbers in certain geographies based on the population. And then you could just, market to those folks. And the good part, I mean, you got all sorts of professional kind of services, plumbers, electricians, dentists, all sorts of stuff like that. Maybe you have a flooding issue in your crawl space and you need someone to put in a sump pump like I do. I had to put in a new sump pump. Apparently, we burned the last one out, even though I got like a more powerful one. But anyway, lead generation is great, different business model. Berserk says, what plugin do you use if not Yoast? I actually usually use Yoast just because I know how to use it. And Marty is mentioning there were some issues with Yoast. They screwed up fairly big. And I mean, it sounded like some people felt that their rankings went down because of it. I personally didn't have an issue with it, but yeah, some people did. Duke says, what's my favorite type of article for conversions? A best list, a review, a comparison, what gives you the best conversions? I haven't looked at this analytically, Duke, but I believe it is the best type list and a comparison. Those are the good ones for me. Subham says, can we copy any affiliate niche blog idea and write articles on that and earn? Technically, it is possible, but if you do what you said, it's probably not going to work. All right. So if you are looking for a shortcut and you're just copying someone else, you will always 100% of the time be behind them unless you somehow change how you're doing things. But this is across the board, right? Quick example, as we're talking about my course a little bit, and I have a couple other topics that I'll cover in a second. But I see we're developing a crowd. So if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please hit the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. I think it helps me get more people watching these, but it remains to be seen. So I have this course, 5-Figure Niche Site. It opens for enrollment in like a month. It's a premium course, right? If it's too expensive, I encourage you to just consume my free content. It's better than a lot of the courses out there. So when I was rolling out my course, initially, like a couple years ago, I worked hard on it, right, on the content, and I focused on a different area every time I was like going through another launch. And I was trying to figure out like the packages. So there's a basic, advanced, and a premium level. And one thing that I saw, and this is Subham, this story is for you, an analogy a little bit. So basically, one of my competitors had another course that covered, roughly the same stuff. And I saw that they basically copied my exact packages that I like worked a couple launches to figure out. So they copied me, and I was a little bit offended at first. I was like, man, they copied me. Now I probably got the idea from someone else, right? I mean, I moved some things around, but really, I just probably looked at several other people, did some research, and then figured out how to position my offering. And when they copied me, I was like, man, they just copied me. But then after a day, once I calmed down and got a good night's sleep, basically, I was like, well, I'm ahead now. Like I won because I figured out how to do the package, and they didn't know. They literally just copied what my package was, right? 1, 2, and 3, roughly the same things. So at that point, I was like, well, I won. I'm ahead at this point. Now it doesn't mean I could like relax or anything, but I know that I was working harder than this individual was. So okay. So Subham, if you are copying people, you're not going to win. Now, it's all right to sort of like be not influenced, but be inspired by other people's sites and stuff. But if you're just copying, you're going to lose. All right. Okay. And Anthony is giving more details about the print ad stuff, and potentially, yeah, maybe you could promote your site. If there's something relevant, then perhaps. Wesley is on. Good to have you. All right, Subham says, So if you want to get your blog ranked without doing much hard work in building links, then try to get some do follow backlinks from medium or high authority sites. You can contact a few blogs and da 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 da. So Subham, yeah, refer to my last. Okay, and you say, I'm reading ahead, authority site owners, and then ask them to backlink your site, and it ranked from just one backlink, and your Alexa ranking went from 6 million to 30,000. Okay. And just that's all very interesting, Subin. But my point is, you're saying that your statement without doing much hard work in link building, everything's super hard. So just imagine it's going to take a long time and it's very difficult and nothing's going to go your way. So if you have that as your expectation, then you'll be satisfied. All right. Zach says, is there anything I can say to get you to stop checking your site and ranking so much? It's feeling like an obsession. I think that is normal. Marty says that's normal too. Duke says, yeah. So at some point, like once you sort of stabilize and you're like, all right, this is okay, and you're really busy, you will probably like not check it as often. I still check a few times a week, traffic, and particularly if I'm doing like some work on a particular area. So, and I'm losing in the chat. There's so much going on. Thank our moderators. I see Duke on for sure. And yeah, my mug, Zach, is looking pretty gnarly. I have coffee in here, but I also put, yeah, I'm looking at it now. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like dirt, I think, but it's actually cinnamon and coconut oil. So yeah, it looks pretty gnarly. All right, I'm gonna step away from the chat just for a second. So a couple things, because I know a lot of people joined up late. If you missed the content outlining workshop, there's a link in the description. It's free. You just have to enter your email address. You could watch the replay. It's pretty good. We did some new stuff yesterday. Great discussion. Actually, a long Q&A. Really like good group of people, and we had probably like twice as many as the last couple weeks. So that was really cool. The other thing is people ask me about WordPress themes all the time, and I did some research after getting some good information from people like Duke and Marty and a couple other folks about the REHUB theme. I placed an affiliate link for REHUB in the description, but upon investigating, I see that Amazon Associates actually mentions REHUB by name in their documentation. So I thought, well, if they are mentioning it, why can't too? So if you want to check out that particular theme, you can. It looks really good, but as Marty and I think Duke maybe told me once, it takes a little bit to figure out how to use the theme. It's pretty sophisticated. There's a lot of options and stuff, but it sounds like the support's pretty good. Marty mentioned that the developer, interacts with the audience or the customers. So it sounds like a pretty solid theme. Again, Amazon Associates does mention it in their documentation. If you're interested in Pinterest traffic, there is a free training. Where's the link? Yeah, interested in Pinterest traffic. So my friend John Dykstra over at My Perfect Blog has training on really starting a blog, and then they go into some details about Pinterest and getting some traffic from Pinterest. Some people mentioned that they love it. They love the training. They really got a lot out of it. And then one person said they thought it was too salesy. So it is a recorded webinar. You can watch it basically on demand whenever you want to. And then they're gonna try and sell a course at the end of it. I want to let you know ahead of time. But I've looked through the course and cherry picked certain areas. There's a ridiculous amount of information in that course, and it is very, very good. John is super successful in like getting traffic from Pinterest, and he's doing really well with a couple of niche sites himself. The nice part with John, very smart guy, he and I cover totally different stuff. So like we get traffic different ways. We have a different way of doing things. So it's nice to like work with him. So anyway, oh, sorry, Georgie. You're a good girl. So have a look at that if you're interested in Pinterest traffic. And then the other thing that I didn't get to before is a couple books I'm reading. I put affiliate links to Amazon over there, but this one is the one I'm sort of like currently reading. Hopefully that'll focus up. 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. And it's by Ries and Jack Trout. It's pretty short. It's only about 130 pages. Super easy to read through. Each one of the 22 just has a handful of pages, a couple case studies mentioned. And I got this book when I was in Portland at Powell, the Powell bookstore, Powell's Books, I think it's called. If you haven't been there, it's a bookstore that takes up a full city block. It's like 4 stories and have new and used books. And I've heard it's better to get the original printings of this book versus the newer version. Now, I don't know why or when I heard that, but this is a 1993 version. So you hear about technology and stuff. Some examples in this book are interesting to think about, considering that was almost 30 years ago. Pretty crazy, but good book. I'm reading it right now. Have a look. Very interesting. I don't think it doesn't apply directly to affiliate sites. However, the stuff that you'll learn in here is just good to know. And then the other book, I'm not actively reading this, but Productivity Project by Chris Baily, really good book. And it's one of those books where, a guy was like trying different productivity techniques for like a year, but really interesting read, very actionable. One thing I like about this book is they have, for example, at the beginning, I just randomly flipped open. So they have like the takeaways, the key takeaways at the beginning, and then they just get right into the material. They even say the estimated reading time is 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Then at the end of each chapter, they have, some challenge, some activity for you to take, kind of like in the 4-hour work week where, Tim Ferriss is putting out some challenge, wants you to do something to like get you out of your comfort zone. And the cool thing with this book is it's not like you have to do X, Y, and Z to be productive. It's more like, here are, a bunch of things that I tried. These worked for me. These did not. So the big benefit from this book was going through the exercises, trying things, figured out what you actually like and what worked for you, and then like doing that more. So it's not a prescription. It's like test and see what works for you. So those are 2 books. Do check them out if you're interested in that sort of thing. And I'm going to try and come back to the chat here momentarily. I think I lost some people on that. Nobody gives a shit about the books I'm reading. Or do you? Do you care about the books I'm reading? Let me know in the chat or leave a comment. All right. As I'm coming back to the chat, Innovatar says, what other affiliate marketing programs do you recommend other than Amazon to maximize earnings? I think you can probably do really well with Amazon. I know for a fact you can. However, if you want to maximize your earnings, you can just find out what other products have affiliate programs and then potentially work with them. So yeah, just sometimes you don't have any other options. Marty has given a plug for the 5-Figure Niche Site course. I appreciate it. There's a new enrollment period coming up in a few weeks, so mid-July. Keep an eye out for that. Ries says, is there any benefit of not showing published date last updated? You see some sites do it and they're quite popular. It's totally up to you. One thing you can do is check that particular query and see if Google lists dates in the results. And if they do, they're deeming that to be somewhat important. QDog, how's it going? Good to have you on. You think you need to enroll in the course? How much am I charging in the next month or so? You have a niche site, but it's making a minuscule amount of money. So the course, it is unfair for me to mention the pricing here because I can't give you all the context. But you know what? I'll just mention it anyway. It's between $600 and $2,000, and basically it depends on what package you get and that sort of thing. I also do some one-on-one coaching. So if you think that could be a benefit for you, then you can check that out as well. Next, Tima says, you always think if you use a pen name. I always think if I use a pen name for a book or a site, I should create social media accounts for that identity. Okay. It's totally up to you. Totally up to you. Zach is also recommending the course. Really appreciate it. And the best thing in the course is learning what you don't have to do. Yeah, I think that is totally true. There's so much information that it's hard to figure out what to work on. Um, all right. Totally losing in the chat here. It just goes so fast. Oh yeah, okay. So I've caught up to where Zach was like, "What's in my mug?" All right, it's cinnamon. Okay, so now Mike says, "What is my opinion regarding post commenting for review and affiliate posts? Do you enable or disable? If you enable, how do you deal with the trolls and spammers?" Mike, so I usually have them enabled. Totally up to you though. I use a couple plugins that make it a little bit easier to deal with, and there's just less spam. One's called it's the initials are GASP, GASP. I can't remember what that stands for. It's something like, well, I don't remember what it is. And then the other one is a Kismet. So those two in conjunction work pretty well, and I don't get too much spam. GASP enables like a checkbox that says like I'm a human or I'm not a robot or something, and you just have to the commenter has to click the box and it cuts down a lot. And a Kismet works great. Totally up to you if you want to have comments though. And Daniel says you have to remind yourself that staring at Google Analytics doesn't make your traffic go up. Okay. So Dan, what's up? Good to have you. Anthony says, do I do any A/B split testing? No, I sure don't. I think in most cases that's probably going to be a waste of time, and it takes a lot of traffic to get actual insight into A/B testing. Ceda says, what's the recommended amount of do follow backlinks? Is there too much? No, not really. Ries says, my search console says errors with your site structure data. You intentionally left out your author's author name and publish date. Aware of any negative impact to rankings? Not, I don't know. I'm not sure. Authors publish. Yeah, not that I know of. And I'm not sure. It sounds like two disconnected thoughts. And I'm not sure. Subham says, how much money do I make each month? I don't share that information, Subham. But if you're interested, I know some other people that do share that information. So as actually, John Dykstra over at My Perfect Blog, he shares, I don't know how current it is, but he shares some of his revenue. Pat Flynn, he shares his revenue. Kim says, hello, you just started following me yesterday and you already learned a lot. Awesome. Good to have you on, Kim. Welcome. I do live streams like twice a week usually. Fridays are the random Q&A, free for all like we're doing today. Wednesdays, I usually try and keep it like on a tight topic. And by the way, if you missed the one this last Wednesday, it was extremely popular. I think I hit I had a good title and I promoted it. We had like something like 80 plus people on for a period. But if you missed it, do check it out. Feel free to like leave comments. I like the comments. And yeah, it was on. We did a teardown on a site that at one point was making about 5K a month or so. And Zach says, you imagine that anything Google considers an error would be something you'd want to fix. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And Bree says, Chris Baily, yep, that is the year productivity project. That's it. Jaron, what's up? Good to have you on. Okay, yeah, one person says you don't care about books or the books that I'm reading. Dan says you are. Mike says yes. Daniel says yes. Kevin says yes. Marty says yes. Cool. All Wayne, yeah, all right. People do care about the books. I got boring for a second, and then it looked like about 10 people dropped off, and by the time I finished talking about that stuff, but maybe it was the other things. All right. Steven says something about the continental breakfast. And funny thing, so we have a lot of the same people, Kim, by the way, we have a lot of the same people that hop on often. And Steven saying, still serving the continental breakfast. Steven once, he puts in the offhand humorous things. And sometimes I just skim over them. And then once I missed one of his comments and it made him sad. So, Steven, I'm reading that out loud intentionally because I recognize that I recognize the humor there. All right. Yeah, so Kim, hopefully you'll be a new addition to the regular crew. D card, how's it going? Anthony, is there another contest between me and Alex? Not that we have planned. No. Ceda says, you think the books you're reading are for when you've reached a certain meta level, not so much when you're navigating the trenches of internet marketing. You might be wrong though. Cool. Yeah. And I think the productivity project is just interesting. I also usually am reading at least one fiction book. I try not to do like too many at the same time. I could do one fiction and one nonfiction. Steven says, Steven says, don't download the analytics app. It's so addicting. Yeah, for sure. Tima says, if I bought a site and 301 redirected its pages to new pages, which are in a completely different niche, would that increase ranking for the new pages? It probably would. I probably wouldn't do that though. All right. So it would probably work, but it might not. And it may be a bad thing to do. Okay. Innovatar says, and I'm probably just pronouncing that wrong, but marketing books are interesting. Not everybody likes reading, unfortunately. All right. All right, Arun does care. Yokohama says the teardowns I do are great. You've prevented me from making a lot of mistakes by pointing out what other sites are doing wrong or could improve on. Cool, good to know. And Tima says I was looking into a way to get faster rankings. You know, like link building. All right, and Dan says thanks for turning you on to the guys at Income School. Good info from them as well. Cool. Yep. And let's see. So a couple things. Are people interested in just like my productivity and stuff and like things that I do, right? So I have done a couple like pieces of content, some on the blog, some here on YouTube where I go over like my not necessarily productivity, but just how I work. So if people are interested in that, how I take notes and stuff, because a lot of times, like we're looking for interesting tools to like in apps and stuff. And I've definitely, I mean, I always test stuff out, but a lot of times I'm just using like a legal pad. And what I have been doing is just like snapping a picture and putting it into Evernote because Evernote can search your handwritten notes. So I can take notes on a book, for example, take a picture of it, and then it's searchable. All right. So that's kind of cool. Just overall, that's kind of cool. So are people are interested in my productivity and that sort of stuff. Okay. I got at least one yes from Dan. So that's cool. But there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I use these just really simple. Let me make sure there's nothing too critical. I'll just show you a blank page. And then I have like just a black notebook here. This particular one is from Office Depot, but I found like, you know, just cheaper, nicer ones from Amazon that are like $10. So that sort of stuff is, you know, how I'm managing my week. And then even bigger, right? And I also, there's a whiteboard in that closet. This is, this room used to be my office, but now it's the / guest bedroom, hence the bed back here. Occasionally people bust my balls on that one, but I mean, I'd prefer not to have the bed there, but my wife said, hey, we should get a bed for when we have guests. So we got a bed. All right. Kevin says the information on productivity is appreciated. Time is something you're always chasing, and it helps to know how to organize. Bree says you are interested. And paint us a picture of how my day to day has evolved over the years. You started scorecards again, measuring the number of lead indicators each day. That's really, really good to do. Then Joe says, you think it would help you. Excellent. Okay. Jiren says, you're in a fairly small niche and you're thinking about expanding a bit with a broader and slightly rebranding of the site. You're hitting diminishing returns with keywords. Do I think that would be an issue or a good idea for the long run? I think it's probably a good idea for the long run. If you see an area where you definitely can expand, Jaren, then rebranding, right, is it's just a small problem to solve because I don't think necessarily it's like the site's like really well branded right now. I think it's just a, simply branded. But if you were to get a new domain name and just redirect everything, it's a fairly straightforward process. You'll hit a couple hiccups. I'll tell you right now, expect your site to be um, sort of not necessarily offline, but like maybe your rankings will move a little bit for a few days. I've recently acquired a site and rebranded it and did a redirect. Traffic dropped by about, I can't remember, like 40% right away. And then over the course of about 4 weeks, it returned to where it was. So it took a little time for all the 301s and the links going through the 301s to make their way over to the new site. But yeah, I think, allowing yourself to expand would be a good thing. So yeah, have a look at that. Um, Anthony says, why am I not traveling and doing live seminars? Yeah, I have no idea. Um, I'm pretty busy and I think I'm not sure. Maybe one or two things here and there, Anthony, could be interesting. I This is a lot easier than to actually be in front of an audience, which I haven't done before, like a live audience. But also, I think at some point the travel may be a little bit much. All right. Jaren mentions, yeah, it's not that well branded at the moment. You're thinking about leaving the domain but changing the logo and design a bit. Oh, that would be fine. If your domain is diverse enough, which I can't remember it off the top of my head, um, you know, you can just add more products and maybe tighten up the branding, and that would be totally fine. And Tima says, I'm creating a new site, but you wanted to cut some corners. It sounds like you're going to stick to the plan that Duke outlined. That's really cool. And I think basically just don't try and take shortcuts. Like any time that I've tried to take a shortcut or whatever, it maybe worked in the short term if I was lucky, but sometimes it didn't work in the short term. It just didn't work at all, and then it ended up being a very expensive mistake. So, I mean, we're talking about waiting 6 months to make, like, a life-changing amount of money. Like, you can work through 6 months, right? It's like, just it's not that long to get through the sandbox. 6 months is nothing. All right. Your guitar guide, Sharon, says, "If you ranked due to a year, to keep it up to date, the next year, can you just change the title or do you have to do a redirect?" I think it depends on how you implemented it. So if you have the year in the URL, then I would probably redirect it. Yeah. But if you didn't, then no. I think you could probably just change the title. Stephen is seconding the idea to be patient when you're trying to rank new sites. Okay. Let's see. Just want to make sure I mentioned everything. If you enjoy the video, please hit the thumbs up. Any other questions out there? Fewer were sent in, and it looks like fewer people are watching you know, than have in the past, which is interesting. Haven't quite cracked the code on that, but quick, I'll just point out again, if you missed the free workshop on outlining content, there's a link. I think it's the first link in the description. It's free to check out. You can watch the replay. It was a good one. I think if you're savvy, you could watch the replay, click the link, and then watch it on Amazon where it's basically unlisted, and then watch it at 2x speed. All right. Any other questions out there? Duke says it's the dog days of summer. Everyone's getting ready to go play over the weekend. Indeed. Jiren says you recently had one of your top traffic keywords overtaken by a competitor. You cleaned up the article and added 1,000 words to it. Do you monitor your top traffic keywords to keep them in place? Yes. Generally I do, especially if it's something like that, but depending on the specifics, I mean, at some point you're going to have so many that you're looking at that I just kind of like look at traffic, and I kind of look at the earnings every couple days, not obsessively, but just in a normal way every couple days to make sure things are sort of where they should be. But yeah, it's a good idea to stay on top of it, I think. Kevin says, in the beginning of your website, you installed too many products before content. Should I delete some of the products or keep producing content? Well, it's hard to say, Kevin, with that amount of information. When you say installed too many products, can you explain what you actually mean? So I don't know if you should delete some products. You should keep producing content, but I'm not sure like the context of your question. So I don't know what you mean by installed too many products. Is that a WooZone thing? Okay. So, I remembered one other thing I was going to tell everyone about. So I recently, I'm a project management professional, a PMP, and let me make sure there's not my address on here. But I got that back in 2008, and it's one of the reasons why I started like the blog niche site project, because I had like a unique thing, right? I was a PM, and basically I'm trying to make sure there's nothing on here too critical. I'll just cover up I don't think I don't think there's anything on here. But basically, I renewed my PMP. So that's pretty cool. It's a little certificate from PMI, and to get the any PMs out there, PMPs, it's not easy to get the certification. You have to take a pretty tough test and have like multiple thousands of hours of experience, and then to keep it up, you have to continue, getting professional development units. So that is a process. Every 3 years, you have to do that. So I've had it for like 10 years, and then I got just renewed for another set. So that was, that is admin stuff that you just got to do. All right. Okay. New says there's a lot of evidence that the YouTube algorithm penalizes long live stream content. The drop off rate is high and retention is low in general. So your content may not be suggested as readily. Good to know. Good to know. Turns out people love these things. So I believe you though. In general, these if I look at the analytics a decent amount. I probably for a little while, I obsessed over the YouTube analytics. But at this point, I'm just doing what I'm going to do, and it seems to be okay. But basically, the live ones, like some people stay on for a very long time, and they typically get, and anyone can see this information if you just look at my channel and search for like live Q&A in the title. Typically, you're going to see like 500 views or so, and some people watch like a lot of it. So, yeah, good to know though. Next, Tima says 6 months is not a lot of time. Indeed. Kevin says you put over 3,000 products at first by WooZone. I would say, yeah, I don't know. You probably know Alex at WP Eagle. I would maybe check with him. I would have never done 3,000 products. That sounds like a bad idea. And Kevin, you're saying you're afraid to create a bunch of 404s from Google. Yeah, I would probably be worried about that too. What should you do? I have no idea. I would have not done that. That is a bad idea, I would think. And probably not beneficial. And I'm not saying like, I mean, you didn't know any different, Kevin. Like now as you're learning more information, then you're understanding what you should and shouldn't do. Cool. And yes, formulaic, you did send in a question. I did answer it. And basically, yeah, you could put affiliate links. And is there a reason why you think you shouldn't put affiliate links in informational articles? Bree, thanks. Yeah, it's a pretty cool certificate. It's like a raised, embossed situation there. And Formulaic typically watches the entire replay. Happy Chef, what's up? Knife Masters, John there, what's up? Innovitar says, are seasonal targeted keywords risky or okay? Well, they're not inherently risky. So you can use them. I would just expect, doing the proper keyword research. So, all right, see you, Bree. Have a good one. And Kevin, yeah, check with Alex. It looks like Duke says you mentions that he would redirect those pages to the homepage or related pages. Yeah. See, and I think, I mean, if you redirect it to the homepage, like that could, I mean, I have heard that could like raise red flags if you're like redirecting a crazy number of pages to the homepage. That's kind of a weird thing to do. However, to work with and redirect those 3,000 products to like another post would be overwhelming, too many to deal with. You may have the opportunity, now that we're talking through it, Kevin, you may be able to just like 410 them, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you would do. So, and that's the flaw with like those automated Amazon affiliate like themes where you can just import products and maybe you watch this cool demo video where you can create a Amazon store in 5 minutes and make all this money, and it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So pop into focus there. So yeah, I don't know what you should do. And honestly, I mean, I point you towards Alex because he does WooZone, but I have a feeling he doesn't quite know either what to do with those. All right, and Hamas is just making a statement here. The outreach in the fitness niche is easy and successful, but in the tech niche, it's hard. All right, and Formulaic says, I was thinking the idea behind the informational post and not putting affiliate links in them is to avoid appearing as a pure affiliate to Google. Yeah, I mean, I think if all your content is only oriented to sell something, like they're all review products or all review articles, that could be sort of a bad sign. But my hunch is if you have articles that are targeting, helpful things, then that would probably be okay. But do whatever you think's right, Will. I mean, if you think If you think that that's bad, then don't do it. I don't think there's a big issue with it. All right, cool. And some people are mentioning you listen to almost all the live streams, but you don't always watch. And some people save the videos or the MP3s. And by the way, my wife and I are doing a podcast. So I think she edited the second episode last night, and I think we're going to launch hopefully in a couple weeks here. It's called Survive the 9 to 5, and I'm coming at it from a former corporate person, and she still has a full-time job. But basically, we got some decent stuff done. So we're going to launch with like 3 episodes. So for people that can't get enough, that'll be a little bit different than this. And then I think maybe in a little bit, I'll most likely publish and launch an affiliate marketing oriented podcast, just myself, because I want to be able to talk about all these details in the other podcast. It just won't fit in. So Kevin's saying you thought about reinstalling WordPress and starting over. Maybe. Yeah, that could be. I'm not sure. All right. Happy Chef says, send people to a specific product of an overview if I talk about something in general. Okay. I'm not sure what that's directed at exactly, but thanks. I think it was to Kevin, but I'm not 100% sure. All right. Mike's out of here. See ya. Yeah. Good luck, Kevin. I think, what happens when we get started is we make a lot of mistakes, and some of them you can recover, right? That's the key, to be able to like make a mistake that's not a huge one, so that you can adjust when you realize that you made a mistake. It's the same reason why I tell people not to launch a bunch of sites all at once, because you potentially could make the same mistake like 8 times. And then it's really discouraging when you have to go fix the mistake. Then you're wasting all this time fixing your mistake, and then you'll get discouraged and you'll quit. And that is one of the reasons, right? Initially, my wife and I I was like, we should launch the podcast with like 10 or 15 episodes so people can download them and listen to a bunch all at once. But it turns out that after I thought about it, I was like, let's launch with 3, right? 3 episodes, because if we're making some mistake, like something we don't realize early on, we don't want to have like 10 episodes where we've just made the mistake 10 times. I want to be able to adjust after we've, released 3 episodes and launched. You can have, the good people from the Niche Site Project audience, like check it out, maybe get a couple hundred listens, right? A couple hundred downloads, and we can hear what people think. And then if it turns out no one wants to hear like what I'm saying, then they'll say Doug talks too much, and everyone can let me know, and then we could adjust for the future episodes. So that is one of the key things. Like you'll be able to fix this in the future and try not to make mistakes that you can't recover from. All right, cool. And Marty says you're still looking forward to the podcast. Excellent. All right. And I think any last questions? I think we're towards the end. I mentioned a couple books here, right? So there's links in the description: 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, and then the Productivity Project. Whether you're interested in the productivity or like geeking out on marketing, they're interesting reads. And both of them read like really easily, really well. And there's a few links in the description. So if you're still watching it at this point, do check out those links. If you're interested in Pinterest traffic, there's some free training to check out. If you are interested in the REHUB theme, you could check out the demo or just the information page. That is actually a theme recommended by Amazon in the associates documentation. And I think that's it. All right. Any other questions? Formulaic says you made a slew of websites yourself and made a lot of mistakes. The only saving grace is the sites are aging and you could go back and tweak and fix instead of starting one from ground zero. Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Hummus says, what if I have a landing page listing top the top 20, 10 or 20 products and a small amount of content, about 300 words, and promote through Facebook ads. Is that allowed? Have I tried that? All right. Generally, all right, couple things. I'm pretty sure it's allowed, but if you ever have a question about like what you can do with the Amazon Associates program, they have a support system, right? So that you can get them on chat, you can call them on the phone, you could send them an email. So if you're unsure, you could check. Now, there are things that you could do on Facebook that would definitely not be allowed, but if you're just running ads, then generally that's allowed. I mean, Amazon retargets you on Facebook because they know like what you've been looking at and shopping for. So you will often see a retargeted ad for something you are browsing on in Facebook if you look, or on Instagram because it's all the same ad network. So have I tried that? No, I haven't. And my advice to you, Hamas, is don't do it. Just, it's probably not going to work unless you're just a badass Facebook ad person. Then it's not going to work because the margins are too small. And again, unless you're just awesome at Facebook ads, just don't do it. If you are awesome at Facebook ads, then you probably would be, running Facebook ads to some affiliate offer that has a high payout, and then you'd be good to go. And you wouldn't have asked that question. So I would say, is it possible? Is it allowed? Yes. Should you do it? No. Happy Chef says, send people to a category page on Amazon or a specific page if you talk about something general. Oh, gotcha. Yes, that would totally be fine if you're saying like, hey, there's a whole lot of like journals. There's a bunch of journals on Amazon. Here you could check out the journal page and, see what you like. That's totally fine. All right, Sharon, see you later. Kevin, see ya. Duke is pasting a link for Amazon questions. Indeed, that's awesome. Uh-oh. Georgie's freaking out. Hamas, see you later. And the last question of the day. Subham says, how many hours do I work a day and how do I keep myself motivated to work? So that's a deep question. I usually work like 4 to 6 hours a day for most days, unless I'm like doing something where I need to put my head down, and maybe I'll do like 10 hours a day, but it depends. But usually I walk outside for a few hours a day. I walk Georgie, who you just heard barking, and then I usually go to the gym like 4 or 5 times a week, something like that. How do I stay motivated? I kind of like what I'm working on. And the other part is like, if I wasn't making money, then I would need to get a full-time job, which I do not want to do. So that is a strong motivator. All right, Marty, have a good weekend. Dan's out of here too. Unbox Warehouse, I'm going to leave in a second. I'm sorry. And then last, D-Card says, if you make pennies if you use Amazon with Facebook. Many people tried it because the commission rates are low. Again, if you were to try it, I would expect, Thomas, that you are really savvy and that you would be retargeting. I mean, it could work, but you would have to retarget people for specific items and run very specific ads, right? You could do it, but you would have to know, here's why it's really hard. You'd have to be really good at Facebook ads, and you'd have to have a lot of capital to see like what your ROI was to know if that was going to work or not. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. Oh, Evan, see you later, man. Sorry, I'm jetting. But it's sort of dwindled down, and we'll catch up with everybody soon. Have a great weekend.